Well, it is an absolutely tremendous privilege to welcome all of you here today, and it's a tremendous privilege to be with these heroes who are beside me and behind me. 2 years ago this month, Karen and Dawn and I and many of the folks who are with me stood out at Weldon Spring and called on the federal government to compensate every single victim of nuclear radiation in the state of Missouri. We said we had waited for too long. It had been 74 years since that time. Think about that, 74 years as of 2 years ago since the federal government began dumping nuclear radiation into our water, into our soil, into our air, and they had done nothing to that time, nothing to compensate the victims. We called on them that day, that July in 2023, to compensate every single Missourian. And then we went to work. And not just we went to work, everyone who is with us here today went to work, because the truth is, it wasn't just the people of Missouri who had waited for 70 years to have justice done. It was the people of the Navajo Nation. It was the people of Utah. It was the people of New Mexico. It was the people of Idaho. It was the uranium miners and atomic veterans from all over the country who had been waiting for decades for the federal government to finally own up to what it had done, to the nuclear radiation it had released into the air, to the exposure to radiation it subjected our miners to without telling them, to communities who were lied to for years, and we were lied to in Missouri. Let's just take a walk down memory lane for a second. Let's remember what the federal government did. Beginning in the 1940s, the federal government dumped nuclear waste and radiation into Coldwater Creek right here nearby us. It put radiation, nuclear material into our landfills. It dumped it in Laddie Avenue, all over the city, really, when you think about it. And the government was doing the same thing at other uranium enrichment sites around the country, in Kentucky, in Tennessee, in Alaska. And of course, the downwinders, the good men and women in New Mexico, of the Navajo Nation, in Arizona, who were exposed to this radiation without being told, and worse than that, who were frequently lied to about the scope of the radiation. And so for years, these good folks behind me, these survivors, these heroes, pursued, worked, prevailed upon their government. They said, do what is right. And now finally, here today, after all of this time, after passing the RECA bill, expanding RECA, after passing it now 3 times through the United States Senate, 3 times. They told us when we first said we were going to push for nuclear radiation compensation in Missouri, they told us it could never be done. I remember people saying, oh, you're going to try to do RECA? Oh, that will never happen. And then we passed it through the United States Senate that very year in the fall of 2023. We beat my own party on the floor of the United States Senate when they tried to block us and got it passed. The next year, yeah, you can cheer for that. The next year, in 2024, the spring of 2024, we did it again, a standalone bill. We got 69 votes on the floor of the United States Senate, a historic bipartisan vote. And again, they said, oh, well, it'll die in the House. Nothing will ever happen. And this year, we got it included as part of the big, beautiful bill, and they said again, oh, it won't last. You'll never get it through all the way. Well, I tell you what, finally last Friday, when the president put that pen to paper, something historic happened. The largest expansion of the RECA program in the history of the United States. For these communities, it represents decades of advocacy. It represents decades of work. It represents decades of standing tall and fighting strong for their families, for their communities, for their states. And while we are not done, the fight continues. There are other communities that should be included. There are other regions that need to be covered. There is no gainsaying the fact that this is a historic achievement. It is a historic victory, and we want to celebrate it here today. I want to just say thank you. I want to say thank you before I give you the opportunity to hear from President Nygren, from Dawn, and from Karen, and from other of our advocates. I want to say thank you especially, beginning with Dawn and her husband Brian, and Karen and her husband Todd, who have been here representing this community. Yes, let's clap for them. I want to thank Kristen Canuso. I want to thank State Representative Tricia Burns, who's right here to my right. Representative Chantel, where's Chantel? Chantel, who's right here. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you. Representative Clemens, the Union of Concerned Scientists. Ashley Bernard, who I think is here from Jan Elementary. So Ashley, it's so good to have you. It's so good to have you. I'm going to introduce President Nygren of the Navajo Nation here in just a moment, and I've got right behind me to my left, maybe fittingly, I've got Corey, and I tell you what, here's the truth. Corey Bush and I, we worked together hard on this thing, and there was a time, it was a year ago this month, I think actually, when the majority in the House of Representatives tried to undermine us. They tried to move a short-term extension of RECA that had no expansion. Nothing for anybody who is here today, nothing. Mark my words, if they had done that, that would have killed this effort. It was an effort to kill it. And I still remember the day that I got the news. And we had like a very short notice. It was one of these deals where I tell you how the House works. They put a little notice up on the calendar about something they're going to vote for in short time. I saw that notice pop up and I said, we're in big trouble. If this thing passes, we're in big trouble. Who's the first person I called? Corey Bush. I got on the phone. I said, Corey, we got to do something. I said, we got to do something. They're trying to steamroll us. And Corey said, I will get every Democrat to stand up against this. I said, I will call all the Republicans who are standing strong on this. And you know what? We stopped it. We stopped it. And because we stopped it then, we got it passed last week. And so here we are today. So Corey, thank you. Thank you. We would not be here without you and your work. And I just want to thank you to the folks whose names we don't know, but who have for decades, have endured, have persevered. And they're with us here today in spirit, including those who've been lost. We've lost so many people here in this state. We've lost so many people in the regions and states that are represented here today. And I want to say thank you to every family who has kept the faith, every family who has believed that one day their government would acknowledge what they did was wrong. One day their government would say, you know what? We did actually poison you. We did something wrong. Now we're going to honor you. And this is really what this is about today. This is about honoring these survivors. I refuse to call them victims. They're survivors. They're heroes. And this is about honoring them because these people who are here today, they're proud to serve their country. We're proud of the fact that St. Louis and the St. Louis region, St. Charles, did our part in the Second World War and during the Cold War as part of our nation's nuclear program. We're proud of that. And the folks who, the downwinders, the Navajo Nation, by the way, nobody volunteers for military service in greater numbers than the men and women of the Navajo Nation. Nobody. They are a proud, proud people who have served this country in every hour of danger. So today is about honoring these good folks. It's about their government today saying thank you. That's what this is. That's what RECA is. RECA is the government saying what we did was wrong, lying to you was wrong, and we're finally going to make it right. And it's the government finally saying on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you. Thank you to the men and women of St. Louis. Thank you to the men and women of St. Charles. Thank you to the men and women of the Navajo Nation and Utah and Idaho and Arizona and New Mexico. Thank you. Today the United States says to these great patriots, thank you. Now let me introduce to you a great patriot who has come to us all the way today from Arizona on behalf of the Navajo Nation. My good friend, a man who has stood strong, a man who has been, I don't know how many times he's been to Congress to advocate for this legislation. And he and the men and women he represents have been an incredible voice. They are an incredible, incredible part of this nation. The president of the Navajo Nation, Bu Nygren, is here today. President Nygren, come on up. Boy, it's an honor to have you. We got it done. We got it done. Take it away. Take it away.
Yate Hebene to each and every one of you. On behalf of the Navajo Nation, I just want to say thank you for inviting us to be a part of this very historic setting today. Because first and foremost, Senator Hawley, thank you to you and your team and your constant willingness to champion on behalf of all of America, especially people that have sacrificed so much for this country. And so on behalf of the Navajo Nation and the Navajo people, I want to say thank you. And so again, I want to acknowledge that this is a tremendous victory for all of us, especially the Navajo Nation. For those of you that don't know much about the Navajo Nation, I kind of want to reiterate some of the things the Navajo Nation has done over the past decades. Is we've got our Navajo Nation code talkers who are known for our language, our culture, and being a part of World War II as well. And then on top of that, the other thing is what we're celebrating today. The Navajo people have always been there in terms of uranium development. Half of all uranium ever extracted in this country came from the Navajo Nation. At one point in time, we had 1,000 mines on the Navajo Nation, And currently, there's still 500 abandoned mines that still need cleanup. And the other thing that I want to also introduce is that our uranium mine workers post 1971, which we're here to celebrate as well, is that they're going to be able to get some help, because I know that being from northern Arizona, there's a lot of mines that are available that have been there. Because I live in Red Mesa, Arizona. Next, we've got Sweetwater, we've got Red Valley, we've got Cove, we've got various areas that continue to feel like they're forgotten. And I think through this effort, they feel like they're not forgotten anymore. And one of the other things that I also want to acknowledge is the 4,000 Navajo uranium miner workers that were out there that fought. They worked out there. They didn't ask any questions. They said, you know what? This is for our country. This is for the greater good. I want to be there to be for our nation. And so they went into those mines not knowing some of the health benefits that not only was going to take their lives, but to affect generations after generations after they mined those mines as well, too. So again, I want to say thank you. We can't say thank you enough on Navajo, that this has been so historic. As the senator has mentioned, my predecessors, various council delegates from the Navajo Nation have traveled to this nation for decades, and for it to come to fruition this year, I'm very hopeful, very thankful. And the other thing I also want to mention too is some of the wrongs that have happened on Navajo too. Some of you might consider, some of you are very familiar, as mentioned earlier, like the Manhattan Project leaks that here in Missouri, they poison your people, your community. On Navajo in 1979, we had the Church Rock spill, which released 94 million gallons of radioactive waste into the Piro River, which today, as I've toured a couple of years ago, people were devastated because their livestock, their cattle, their land, their water resources were extremely affected. And today we recognize that, and it's an honor to be able to share that with you so that we never forget. We shouldn't ever forget what people have done over the decades, and today is a celebration to make sure that we continue to fight, advocate for programs like this. And I also want to thank previous leaders as well. Some of the previous leaders, current leaders, include Senator Lujan Crapo and the late Senator McCain, Udall, and also Martin Heinrich as well. And my congressman, Representative Eli Crane, has been very instrumental, Gosar, Molian, and many, many others that we can thank. But again, this was a bipartisan effort, whether Republican, Democrat. It was about doing what's right for communities that have fought for this nation and gave all the resources that they can so that we can continue to make sure that we live in a very safe country. So on behalf of the Navajo Nation, I want to conclude by saying, Ahiahat, Senator Hawley, thank you to all the champions that I'm here with today. And it's a tremendous day to be here. I'm not quite used to this humidity, so in Arizona it's a little drier than this. But again, on behalf of the nation, Ahiahat, and thank you to President Trump for signing this into law last week too. And Ahiahat, so that's all I have to share, Senator. Thank you.
President Nygren mentioned it. I want to make sure that I give all of you in the press a chance that we get this reported right, which is he mentioned Senator Ben Ray Lujan, my dear friend from New Mexico, and I just want to thank, for the record again, I will report this, thank Ben Ray Lujan for years. Ben Ray carried this bill in the House for years, a decade and a half, I think. You know, it's not often in Washington, D.C. you get the opportunity to do something on a bipartisan basis of this magnitude. I can't emphasize enough to you how big the expansion of this program is, how many hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people this program will touch. And to have gotten, Ben Ray and I gotten 70 votes basically on the floor of the Senate. I mean, you can't get 70 votes for vanilla ice cream these days. I mean, that was something, and Ben Ray has been a tremendous partner, Senator Heinrich as well, Senator Crapo, who's from my party. So this is really, it's a great achievement, and thank you, President Nygren, for being there, not just being there every step of the way, thank you for leading this effort every step of the way. Tremendous. Let me now introduce to you two women who are near and dear to my heart and who I can say with 100% certainty we would not be standing here today without them. We just wouldn't be. And that is Dawn Chapman and Karen Nichols, just here to my left. They have been bold and tireless advocates, you know, who would not take no for an answer. When person after person, bureaucrat after bureaucrat, government official after government official said, well, not now. Well, we're not sure. No, it's really fine. Take our word for it. Don and Karen said, no, I don't think so, actually. I don't think we will take your word for it. I'd like to see the facts. I'd like to see the data. I'd like to see the science. And then when they kept getting stonewalled, they'd say, you know what? Why don't you hear some stories about the children who have been affected? Why don't you hear our own family stories? Why don't you hear about the thousands of St. Louis residents and St. Charles residents who have lost their lives? And they pushed and they pushed and they pushed. And above all, what they did is they told the truth. They are a testament to the power of the truth. And today the truth is winning because of them. Would you join me in welcoming Don and Karen?
First Don? Okay, I'll come back.
Ooh, it's hot out here, isn't it? And humid. Thank you guys for coming. I want to thank you, President Nygren and Senator Hawley, and at the top of my list, and you guys, I wrote notes. I never write notes. Ask her. I never write notes, but I had to because this is it's a celebratory, but also a very heavy, heavy moment. Heavier than the humidity that's in the air. Heavy. I'm surrounded by people behind me that said yes. They said yes. We asked many people who said no, but everybody around me, everybody here said yes. And I think that that's so important because they said yes in so many different ways. Laura, Maggie, Keith, Sherry, they picked up the RECA cause in their own states, in their own communities. Everything Senator Hawley just said about Karen and I is true for all of these individuals. Sweet Maggie with her father, who was a code talker. These people have fought for so long, so hard. And it's hard to even think that we're finally here. Maggie said that. Maggie's like, I can't believe this today is real. And it just sort of happened so swiftly. But I think the hard thing today and why it's so heavy is there's so many people that should be behind us that have already passed on. There's many people from the Navajo Nation that have passed on that were part of this fight that are not here to be recognized. There's people that are suffering, that are so sick from exposures, who still got on a bus for almost 18 hours across country to pass this legislation to which it would be too late for them to take the benefit of from the Navajo Nation this past summer. Many of those people have passed away. They spent precious moments of their life. The last few moments matter at the end of everybody's life. We're always wanting more time. It's the one thing we can't get back. And to think of the time that those people gave up on that trip, and they are part of the reason we have this. This fight was so hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And not just for Karen and I, not just for the decade plus, but for all the people behind me. I can't stress that enough. And you know what? Our government made it harder. They did everything they could to hide the truth from us. Everything they did. Just everything you could think of, even this park. We have signs behind us that are barely visible thanks to these two. And you know what? It took so many years to fight for those signs. Ridiculous. It's amazing to think how many people could be standing behind us right now had those signs been put up when they should have 30, 40 years ago. And that's today, if we're talking about the heaviness, that's the heaviness. It shouldn't have been this hard, but it was. This legislation will save lives. It will save lives. It brings more than the life-saving compensation. As Senator Hawley and President Nygren said, this is the government recognizing that this is real. And I see you. Your sweet Mark. I've thought of so many people. I see Michelle Seeger's family here. I see so many people out there who have lost people. Mark, your wife, and it's real. The government is saying, we did this, we're sorry, and this is the apology. And is it enough? No. Nothing ever brings back a loved one. No amount of money is enough, but you know what? This will save lives. The $50,000 included in this, the medical reimbursements, they're going to give people a chance to fight back. We've been punched. Our government, this radioactive waste that's just sitting on the surface behind us, continues to attack us. We have a way to fight back now for the first time ever. I also want to thank, while I'm up here, our husbands, and I want to thank my son. The hardest thing about this fight was leaving him when he was so sick the past 2 years and having him beg me to stay behind and have to leave and go to DC and fight for legislation to which he doesn't even qualify for. In this photograph, it's all dusty because I can't hang it up because he won't let me, because he's so pumped full of medications that he barely made it across the stage to graduate. People had to help him. But it's got the most beautiful smile. It's my favorite smile that my son has ever had because he did it. This is what the Manhattan Project has done. It robs people. It kills people. So with that, I'm gonna let Karen take over.
This is weird. Oh boy. All right. First, I would like to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you. I want to start off by giving my deepest thanks to Senator Hawley and his staff for keeping their commitment to this issue from day one. He didn't just offer words, he followed through with action. He stood with our community when it wasn't easy, when it wasn't politically popular, and when others walked away. His team listened to all of our stories, and we all sent a lot of stories. He responded to our calls, and their team worked tirelessly behind the scene to make sure RECA stayed alive. That kind of dedication means everything to people like us. People who have been fighting for over a decade just to be heard. Because of Senator Hawley's leadership and the hard work of his staff, RECA is now a reality, and lives will be changed because of it. So with that, thank you for honoring your word and for standing with us all the way to the finish line. We are here today in the very park that made me sick. I grew up on that street right there, a place where I played as a child, never knowing the danger from radioactive atomic bomb waste. This land holds memories of my childhood, but it also was the beginning of a long, painful journey of illnesses and loss, not just mine, but my family, neighbors, friends, and so many others. I've carried this fight in my heart and in my bones for over a decade. And honestly, there were times I didn't know if we'd make it. But here we are. Families will now be compensated. There will be more education and outreach than ever before, and the ability to get health screenings that will provide early detection and help prevent some of these cancers. Today, I feel seen. Our community feels seen. And while my autoimmune illnesses are not covered by RECA, I feel like the little girl who got sick here didn't suffer in vain. This moment is bittersweet. It's victory wrapped in grief. But I also hope that no other community has to wait this long to be heard. I would like to introduce to you now Maggie Billman. Maggie is a downwinder from the Navajo Nation, and she would like to give a statement.
Her father was a code talker. Maggie, do you want to stand on this?
I guess so. If you
want to? You guys have to. You might have to. Yes, you're not going anywhere. We're not letting you.
They're going to hang on to me, so yeah. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyways,
It's fun up there.
yeah. I have to read too. Anyways, good morning, everyone. My name is Maggie Billman, a member of Sawmill, Arizona chapter of the Navajo Nation.
I'm honored to be here. I know I'm so emotional today. I live in a downwind with my family on Nevada bomb testing, and the U.S. government detonated 100 testing sites for the U.S. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Many of my community family had died of disease caused by the radiation, including my father, Howard Billman Jr., who served our country as the Navajo code talker, and my mother. I couldn't save him. I promised to fight for RECA and his memory. And also thank you, Senator Josh Hawley, for helping saving RECA program for my father would have be proud of you. And today is a celebration and gratitude for all those who worked hard, tirelessly with RECA, all those who were harmed by the U.S. government by the radiation nuclear weapons. Many groups are today that have worked for years on getting this done. I thank them all. Especially thank you, Lily Adams, I don't know where she's at, UCS, for getting me started and keeping me going. And then Dawn Chapman and Karen, STL, Just Moms, for all their love and support, and the family and friends that are suffering of radiation health effect. Also battling depression and difficult health service for our rural communities. Uncertainty about RECA made things worse. We're trying to meet, having meetings and letters, and take a trip to 38 hours to DC. All our effort seems to fail, but we all didn't give up. When we heard RECA was passed, we cried for happiness, and we're all hopeful to give us help that we need, and time help process the application and deliver the help. Thank you all and love you all.
Next up, we're going to hear from Keith Kiefer, National Association of Atomic Veterans. Keith?
Thank you. Welcome. First of all, I'd like to thank Senator Hawley. Thank you. I also like to acknowledge all the hard work that his staff did. So, excuse me just a sec here. All of the groups that work so hard on RECA and those attending today. My name's Keith Kiefer. I have the honor of being the National Commander of the National Association of Atomic Veterans, otherwise referred to as NAV. Often I get the deer in the headlights when I use the word atomic veterans. RECA refers to atomic veterans as on-site participants, or those that participated in nuclear testing. These individuals, who are a subset of the atomic veteran group, it also includes those involved with broken arrow operations or radiological cleanup operations, such as Inuiatuk Atoll cleanup project, which I was a participant of. Where under the oath of secrecy until 1986, they couldn't talk to their wives or doctors about their ailments and where they may have come from. Under this, RECA compensation is often the difference between bankruptcy or homelessness. For our veterans, atomic veterans not only have the expense of paying for radiation-induced health issues, but also additionally have the loss of income because they're unable to work. RECA is among the few government claim programs that is straightforward, It pays for itself, saving the government and individuals litigation costs. On behalf of NAV and all atomic veterans, we are grateful for RECA reinstatement and expansion. Thank you again.
Next up, we'll hear from Sherry Hanna, Arizona Downwinder.
Good afternoon, Senator Hawley and distinguished guests. I first want to thank everyone for being here and Senator Hawley for putting this together and inviting us here, for Lily Adams and the Union of Concerned Scientists for helping us all get here, and for all the work they've done. They've brought more attention to this issue than they know. And I also want to thank also Congressman Paul Gosar, who ran on this issue when he first ran for Congress, and continued to help Arizonans bring this issue to the forefront. As was mentioned, my name is Sherry Hanna, and I'm an Arizona Downwinder advocate. I spent the last 12 years traveling Arizona, Nevada, and Utah, educating the public on the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, better known as RECA, and the justice it was to provide to the people who were exposed to the radiation fallout and the that was the product of the U.S. nuclear test site outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, and the workers for the toxic uranium mines during the Cold War. This was personal for me. My husband and father were both people that contacted cancer linked to the nuclear testing and were compensated under RECA. My husband, John Hanna, I have a photo of him here. Let me grab it. John Hanna Sr., a former Prescott, Arizona police officer and Prescott City Councilman, died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. My father, Kenneth Wayman, was a stringer reporter for the Arizona Republic, died of esophageal cancer. They both succumbed to painful deaths. I know how important the RECA compensation is. Anyone who has had to seek medical treatment for cancer knows the emotional toll and monetary costs fighting cancer can cause, even if you have insurance. I spent 5 years paying off medical bills associated with the cancer costs from my husband after he passed away. With the rising cost of health care, I pushed to increase the amount of compensation payouts that RECA provided. For many of us downwinders, myself included, the question is not if we will receive a cancer diagnosis, but when. When RECA was allowed to expire in June of 2024, I was devastated because I thought we would never get the program back. But we kept fighting. Thanks to Senator Hawley and other legislators and groups like Just Moms, STL, we kept pushing for a RECA expansion aimed not only to reauthorize the program, but to significantly expand its eligibility provisions. This effort garnered widespread bipartisan support and was ultimately attached to President Trump's comprehensive legislative package and passed into law. I am honored to be here today to support this new statute that creates a compensation pathway for more downwinders and uranium workers, and for the first time, individuals exposed to radioactive waste from the Manhattan Project area activities, focusing on specific zip codes right here in Missouri, as well as Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alaska. We rejoice and pray with you in this endeavor. Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from Laura Greenwood, whose husband was a New Mexico downwinder.
My name is Laura Greenwood, and I'm from Texas. My husband, John Greenwood, was born and raised in Alamogordo, New Mexico, 63 miles from the first atomic bomb, the Trinity test. He was the 13th member in his family to die from cancer. John had 3 cancers in 4 years. First, it was colon cancer, and they removed a section of his colon and started aggressive chemotherapy. Then it was kidney cancer, and they removed his right kidney. We were cancer-free for about 6 months, and then it went stage 4 into the liver. And at that point, it was terminal. With all the surgeries, the scans, the blood transfusions, plus our everyday bills, we were financially ruined. Our electricity was cut off 4 times. Our phones were cut off 5 times. And our car was repossessed. And when they hauled our car away, my daughter was chasing it down the street and yelling, "Bring it back! Bring it back!" No family should have to go through that. My husband was the love of my life and lost his battle on June the 20th of 2012. John and I had been able to have the RECA, if John and I had been able to have the RECA benefits, it would have made a difficult time a little less stressful, and we could have just focused on John and what time we had left together. Now that RECA has been expanded, I will finally be able to apply on behalf of my late husband, and downwinders across New Mexico will be able to do the same. We know that our work isn't over, but yet the communities are still fighting for justice. By passing this expansion is an incredible accomplishment, and I want to thank Senator Hawley and Senator Lujan for being our champions and fighting for us and never giving up. This is my husband when he worked for Texas Attorney General Greg Abbott. This is when MD Anderson said, "Go home and die," because they could no longer do anything for him. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to hear from Dr. Chantel Jones.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Chantel Jones, former state representative of District 67, right here in the heart of Florissant. A few short days ago, a moment arrived that many of us weren't sure we'd ever see in our lifetime. After years of denial, delay, and unimaginable heartbreak, the passage of the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act became more than just a win. For decades, North County residents were told that Coldwater Creek was just a myth. Caught in a space between what we knew and what we were told to believe. We knew the truth. We witnessed the truth. We witnessed it firsthand, and we buried the truth. To live in North County, a neighborhood you love and wonder if the soil beneath your feet remembers more than the people in power will ever. But today, we say this out loud, that the truth never left us. It just waited for justice to catch up.
That's right.
Thank you to Senator Hawley for seeing lives and not party lines. Real lives, work-class lives. Thank you for sharing my testimony of battling and beating breast cancer 2 times.
That's right.
You didn't silence me. You invited me to be the strong voice and advocate for North County, and we grew stronger together. To Just Moms, Dawn Chapman and Karen Nichols, Karen Camuso from MCE, you all became, Kristen Camuso, sorry. You all became researchers. You became researchers, historians, healers of this community, and most of all, heroes. For decades, you recognized communities who have and continue to be exposed to radioactive contamination along Coldwater Creek, contributing to diagnosis of rare cancers, birth defects, and other health-related issues. Thank you for never giving up. To Mayor Laurie, thank you for answering each one of my calls. For answering everyone, for being responsive, and most of all, supportive. Thank you for ensuring we had access to the necessary resources and facilities to host town halls and much more. Thank you for your leadership and commitment to the community. So what do we do now? As we continue to work tirelessly and collaboratively through what the process will look like, the Pink Angels Foundation has accepted the task of becoming a resource hub for North County.
That's right.
We will assist in helping those with Wi-Fi computer challenges, help locating documents, community stakeholder trainings, town halls, literature, and community engagement at no cost. As I close, I would like to make it very clear that no amount of money could ever replace the lives that were lost. Today is a day for my grandfather who died of pancreatic cancer, my mother who died of breast cancer, my aunt who died of breast cancer, 4 cousins, kidney cancer, breast cancer, immunodeficiencies, and all of the Pink Angels who died from breast cancer located in North County. To my sisters, 4 cousins, the family and faculties of Jana Elementary, and every last one of all of the families affected by Coldwater Creek in North County. As promised, I will continue to be a voice and a strong advocate. Where my family live, it's where we live, it's where many of our families live, and it's where legacies are created. Thank you all again.
At this time, if there are any members of the press who have questions, we'll open it up to a few press questions. Thank you.
We're going to open it back up to Senator Hawley.
I think we have.
Do we have a couple more?
Hi guys, I'm sorry. I did not prepare anything and I apologize. I'm a ER provider. I didn't know I was going to be off the hospital today, and so I actually flew in from Detroit this morning. So I'm just going to wing it, okay? So bear with me. I got to fly out tonight. I am Kim. I am Kim Byzantine. I'm the founder of the Coldwater Creek Group. So you guys may, and first of all, thank you, Senator Hawley, for everything you've done. And thank you, Lily, for helping get me here today, last minute. Flew in, like I said, at 7 a.m. this morning. Gosh, this has been a long journey. And I just want to start with saying, when we started the Coldwater Creek Group, nobody believed us. We were just a bunch of meddling kids that grew up in North County, that were all dispersed across the country, and we had all these cancers. And nobody knew that the creek was contaminated and there wasn't a cancer cluster. We just were all on an island. If many of you, Senator Hawley has told my story, many of you may know my son Zach was born with a glioblastoma multiforme, which is a rare brain tumor. There are only 50 documented cases in North America in medical journals. On his first day of life, we were transferred down to St. Louis Children's Hospital. He had his first neurosurgery when he was a week old. He had his second surgery when he was 2 weeks old. On St. Patrick's Day in 2000, we started chemotherapy. We did chemotherapy for about 6 months, and they told us it was futile. Zach lived for 6 years. At the time, I was an engineer with a minor in physics, And after Zach passed away, I was a global automotive executive. That's why I live in Detroit. I was transferred to Detroit, and after Zach passed away, I went back to school and got my doctorate, and I became a healthcare provider. So I'm a doctor in the emergency room now. So I've dedicated the past 15 years of my life to Coldwater Creek. I was an advocate that started the group. We are the ones that developed the ATSDR study. We developed the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services study that proved there was a cancer cluster in the area. And so this today is so monumental. And it took so many people, the 22,000 people on our page that joined in and also raised their hand and said, yes, we also grew up in North County, and yes, we're also sick, to get to get somebody to pay attention to us, to get the CDC to pay attention to us, the ATSDR, to get FuseWrap to pay attention to us. Trust me, back in 2011, we were walking into FuseWrap's trailer and being like, hey, something is wrong. They were not even testing the creek. In 2013, they took 200 samples of the creek and they said, you know what, you meddling kids, something is wrong. And you are right. And they continued to test, and now they've spent $700 million to clean up the creek. And so we've come a long way, and there's a long way to go. And I mean, this is a monumental moment, and we're so proud of it, and we're so proud of everybody that's been involved to date. And I mean, I couldn't be prouder of everybody that's done everything to help. And it's not just about the money. Nothing can bring my son back. And we don't qualify for any sort of restitution. I did this purely as volunteerism out of the love of my son. I grew up my entire life in North County, but he was born on the Hill in 63139. So by the time he was born, even though I was exposed, it is not a zip code that's affected. And so it's not about the restitution, it's about the education, it's about the health screening clinics, about everything else that will come for this for all these families and all of North County and all of St. Charles in the future. We're very thankful.
So, thank you, Senator. Thank you, moms. Thank you, Kristen. And thank you to all the staff. I feel like I'm standing here representing some kids from St. Charles County where they put a nuclear bomb plant next to a high school, and the senator saw it, and that high school still sits next to one of the most dangerous landfills in the country. Not only that, I think it's 4.5 stars now on Google as a tourist attraction. But the senator looked at it, he was shocked, he's been empowered, and he's been tenacious, and so have so many of you, and so many moms. And at the end of the day, I'm just going to wrap it up with this. Everybody here knew that we should not have to breathe, walk, or swim in nuclear bomb waste and call it home. Thank you.
We're happy to take your questions.
Senator, first,
Yeah.
congrats to you and the advocates for getting RECA expansion across the finish line. I can't wait to ask about some of the other big pieces in the big budget bill.
I'm happy to do that. Why don't we come back to that, Mark? While we've got the advocates here, I'm happy to answer all your questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Senator, congratulations on the passage.
Sure, thank you.
What's next? What can you tell people about what's the next step?
Yeah. Well, happily, as soon as the House and the Senate passed this bill, even actually before the President signed it, the Department of Justice updated their website, their RECA posting, and acknowledged that RECA had been not only reauthorized, but dramatically extended. What will happen next is the Department of Justice will come forward with new forms, essentially, that will allow people to apply. So believe me, we are already in touch with DOJ saying, let's push those out. I mean, we need them as quickly as possible. And as soon as they get the application process rolled out, my office will be available. We're going to set up a hotline. We're going to set up a dedicated web page. We'll have dedicated staff to help people apply. And we will try to tell every person in all of these zip codes, 20 plus zip codes across this metro area, St. Louis and St. Charles, that they qualify and help them apply. And it's a significant, yeah, you can clap for that. You deserve it. It is, I want to emphasize for the St. Louis and St. Charles area, survivors, the benefit is people can opt, they can choose. They can either take a one-time $50,000 payment, it's their choice, or have their medical bills reimbursed. So it's quite significant, and it's going to, I think, be truly life-saving for people, and we want to make sure that everybody who qualifies for it gets it. So that's going to be our focus going forward. Yes, sir.
How were you able to push past the polarization politically in Washington, reach across the aisle, and I have a second question, but reach across the aisle and actually get people to work together from both parties? How did you do that?
These people right here. Right here. This is it. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible to look, I think, these good people in the eye and listen to their stories. And we've heard just a small selection of them today. This is the smallest slice of these stories you've heard today. This is truly the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about millions of people who've been affected over the years, millions. So my strategy was simple. It was just force my colleagues to have to listen to these good folks. And we did it over and over. And that's why you look at these folks, they traveled from all over the country time after time after time. And my strategy was to make myself a royal pain in the you-know-what to all of my colleagues and to say, guess what? Here's some more advocates I want you to meet. And my colleagues would try to get away from me, and they'd be, slinking off the floor, and I'd say, wait, hold, come here. I want you to stay and listen. I want you to come meet. Would you take a meeting with Dawn and Karen? Would you listen to Chantel's story? The poor Speaker of the House, he has heard how many different stories because he needed to hear it. He needed to hear it, and we got there in the end. So it is all the credit is to these folks right here because the truth is a hard thing to deny in the end, and the truth is getting a victory today. You got to follow up, yeah.
As you celebrate this moment,
yeah.
of course, there are other communities across the country
Many.
alluded to it. One of those is the Portsmouth Gaseous Diffusion Plant, which has had enormous amounts of cancer in it.
Yeah.
And just can't quite get there from Appalachia, Ohio.
Yeah.
Are you paying attention to that?
Yes.
Are you looking at that inclusion?
Yes. And yes, listen, this is a tremendous victory. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to diminish it. But there is more to do. There are more folks who should be covered. And what you see in this legislation is a very significant expansion of RECA, but it also reflects a lot of negotiation and compromise between the leadership of both houses of Congress and the committee chairmen and women. So we're delighted we were able to get this expansion. It is truly huge. I won't tell you, I won't name names, but I had quite a few senators sitting on the floor with me as we were voting on this thing at whatever time in the morning, complaining to me. They were like, I can't believe you got this massive bill in here. How did this happen? And I said, it happened because it's justice. But there's more to do. There's more to do, no doubt about it. Yes, Jason.
Why do you think it was important to include RECA in the Big Beautiful Bill, which I'm sure you know has a lot of things that many people behind you probably don't like, especially dealing with Medicaid?
Yeah. Well, we've got some work to do on that subject since you mentioned it. But yeah, you can clap for that too. There's work to do on that. Here's the deal. My philosophy from the beginning was I want RECA to get put on anything that's moving. And it became clear to me pretty early on when we first got it attached. Senator Lujan and I got it put on the National Defense Authorization Act. And it passed the Senate. We got that amendment done. That's where, my own party whipped against it on the floor of the Senate. We beat them. We got it put onto the bill. And then in conference, they stripped it out. And it became clear to me at that point, this has got to go on something that's a must-pass bill in both houses. Because otherwise, what happens is with legislation, it only takes one or two opponents, and they'll come in and they'll strip it out. They'll set up a veto gate. They'll do something to kill it. We got it passed as a standalone bill, and the House just sat on it. I mean, they sat on it and watched the program expire. We passed it months before the program expired, and the House just sat there and let it expire. And to be fair, it was the House majority who sat there and let it expire. So, I thought we've got to put this on something that will move. And I want to say thank you to Senator Thune, the majority leader, because the majority leader and I reached an agreement earlier this year where he said to me, you know what, I'll put RECA on the reconciliation bill. I'll do that. And we worked on that together, and I knew, by golly, that thing is going to move and it's going to pass both houses. So I was delighted to have it on there.
So
yes, Mark.
On Jason's Medicaid
yeah.
question. You built something of a national soapbox saying that cuts to Medicaid would be morally wrong, politically suicidal, and
Yeah.
whether or not rural hospitals were forced to close now or later, this bill would eventually force their closure. How do you think voters in Missouri feel hearing you say all that and then vote for it anyway?
Well, I hope that they feel that and recognize they're going to get $1 billion more in rural hospital funding in the next 4 years because of our efforts. Missouri is actually going to see an increase of $1 billion for rural hospitals from now to the end of the decade because of this legislation, and specifically because of provisions that we got put in the legislation, number one. Number two, there will be no effects, no change to Missouri's hospital funding until the next decade, 2030. We got all of that delayed until then, and I'll do everything I can between now and then to make sure that there are no cuts that ever take effect to Missouri hospitals. But I want to be clear, for the next 4 years, Missouri will see an increase over baseline of $1 billion, $1 billion, to rural hospitals. That's a lot of hospitals in our state, and we will see no benefit cuts whatsoever, again, because of compromise language we were able to win and get put into the bill. So there's a lot of work to do on this. I think it's a mistake to cut Medicaid. I've always said that. I continue to believe it. We have prevented it from happening in Missouri for the rest of this decade, and in fact got an increase in funding. But I'm going to dedicate myself, with all the urgency I've dedicated myself to this fight, to seeing that in the 2030s and beyond, there are no Medicaid cuts that take effect in Missouri.
And on the tax side, 1 year ago this month, you called for a grand national debate about a tax policy that was more fair to workers, families, and not so much favorable to corporations. Was this the fair tax policy you had in mind?
Yeah, you know, listen, we made some progress here. We've got no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes effectively on Social Security. That's a big, the president campaigned on those things, I campaigned on those things. That's a plus, but Mark, there's a lot of work to do. Working people deserve to have even more tax relief. I don't think that Wall Street needs any more tax relief, so I would say that this is a start. I think that the efforts, the blue-collar tax cuts that I just named, those are real. Those are going to affect people. There's the child tax cut as well, which is in this bill. So that's good. You know, I mean, listen, legislation is about taking one thing at a time, and we learned that in this fight. You take one step, and then you take the next step, and then you take the next step. So we got some real wins in terms of blue-collar tax relief, but there's a lot more we could do.
Senator, one other question about
Yeah.
adding to states. What about
Yes.
Illinois? When do you think Illinois will be added to RECA?
Well, Jason, what we've done, as you know, in states that are not downwind states, but that are uranium processing states, is we've gone by zip code around particular sites. So, you know, Illinois, we're happy to look at. Just the question over here about other states. You know, there's Washington State has a site, Ohio has a site, New Hampshire, I think, has a site. So there's a lot of sites that we can look at going forward. In this bill currently, for folks who are uranium miners, many of whom are covered, some of whom we think qualify but aren't explicitly covered. This bill, actually, they can petition the Department of Justice to be included without any further legislative action. And for these other sites, you know, I think there's more work to do, and we're happy to look at it site by site. Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
Does this have a start and an end date? I mean, if we know
Yeah.
that there's people who are still being exposed today, so
Yes.
they end up 6, 10 years down the road.
Right. Yes, starts immediately, so it's effective now. Its effective date was upon the president's signature on Friday. And it is reauthorized to pay out claims to the end of 2028. And so my hope is, and expectation is, we would reauthorize it. Now, we've done the hard work now with this dramatic expansion. My hope and expectation is when we get to 2028, as I anticipate will be the case, there'll still be a lot of people who need claims to be paid, and we'll reauthorize it at that time. I do want to emphasize, no funding appropriation is necessary by Congress. No further action is needed by Congress. All of the money is already allotted in this bill. It will flow automatically. So that's why as soon as the Department of Justice gets those claim forms out, people can start applying and they can start awarding claims. No further action needed. Yeah, Greg.
I think Karen or Dawn may have mentioned this online, but apparently there are folks out there who are floating themselves as help for applying for this. What's your message to not only those people, but to the people who are wondering when they should be getting that information?
Well, let the former prosecutor in me just say this, and I'm sure the Attorney General of the state wouldn't mind me saying, scamming is a crime in the state of Missouri, and if you come after vulnerable people and try to take their RECA benefits, we're going to put you in jail. I mean, we will come after you. The Attorney General will come after you. Don't do it. But for people who need help, my office is here to help folks. We're going to stand up an entire team to help folks apply. The first thing we're going to do is try to get the word out and you all can help us with this, please let people know, put those zip codes out there, let them know that they qualify. They've waited so long, decades. We want everybody to know who qualifies, and then we are here to help round the clock. We will make sure there are other resources available. So if you're out there and you're listening, you think, man, how do I apply? Call me, email me, go online, and look us up. We will help you. We're here to help you do it, and we'll help you get the benefits that you need. Anybody else? We'll come back to you, Mark. Anybody else who would like to get in a question? And the advocates are happy to answer questions, I know. Can you get a question for somebody else, Mark? Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that what we understand is we're all grown-ups here, and you're not going to always get everything you want. And so there are some concerns and issues that many of us have with this budgetary bill. But at the same time, the folks who have been waiting a long time for compensation, to be acknowledged for the pain and suffering, that's one thing that I can rejoice in. And so we're going to open our office as well to help and facilitate getting the word out, helping folks apply for these resources, just like we've done with FEMA disaster relief in North County and North St. Louis. But the last thing that I'll say is that this is an example of why it's so important for all of us to work together. This was an effort from grassroots up to the federal level and everybody in between. There are state reps here, there are state senators here, there are mayors here, there are county executives, there are county council persons who are here who have all been in this fight. And so I've always said, if Senator Hawley, we don't always agree on everything, but when we do agree on something that is benefiting this region, we're going to work together. And so, yeah, the fight is still on. 63106, 63107. We need to expand RECA for those, so we're not done. Medicaid, we're going to fight and push to push back on what happened in this bill with respect to Medicaid and how it impacts so many people. So the work is not done, but this is one piece of that bill that I can be happy about and happy for the folks standing behind.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone.